Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana QAMAR Sahab Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Wednesday morning at about 9:30 a.m. This Majlis took place at Baitul Azkar in Wasiabad, Allahabad, UP, India. Wednesday, the 4th of Jumadul Akhirah, 1444, corresponding with the English date, 28th of December 2022. Hazrat Wala starts off this majlis by quoting the ayat of the Quran Majid, Rijalul la tulhihim tijaratu wala bay'un an dhikrillah. Thereafter, Hazrat Wala goes on to speak about the barakat of a gathering. And because when people gather and come together, imbasatat barakatu qulubihim ala man hadarahum, the barakat that is in their hearts spread on to all those who are present there. Ek dusre ke fuyuz se mustafiz hote hai. They all benefit from the fuyuz and the barakat of one another which is in their hearts. And this is the express maqsad and intention of the masajid, where Muslims gather to read their salat. So much so, Hazrat Wala speaks about people gathered in a masjid. If just one person's salat there is accepted, the barakat of it is so tremendous that because of the barakat of that one person, everyone's salat thereafter is accepted. So ijtimaiyat matloob hai shar'an. This to gather together in the Shariat, it is something which is desired. And this is also the maqsad of the khanqahs. That people come. Somebody who's there is weak, somebody there who's stronger, but when they all come together, they strengthen one another. So Allah Ta'ala increase this barakat when we gather like this here. Also, you would understand, people sit down together and eat, but then you would see so many people eating from one kuncha or something like that. You'll see there'll be more nuzul of barakat, etc. Just now, this morning, a person came and he comes and he tells me that what to do. Alas, and unfortunately in our surrounding areas like this here, it has become like that in the jihad, that at the time of Fajr, what much difficulty, you would find only just 1 or 2 people attending the Fajr Salat. So, the ayat of the Quran Majid that is quoted, Inna Allah yuhibbul ladhina yuqatiluna fi sabilihi. Those people, Allah Ta'ala loves them. They come to fight for the cause of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and they are in their safs, in the battlefield. How is that? كَأَنَّهُمْ بُنْيَانٌ مَرْصُوص, as if they are a solid concrete wall. A solid concrete wall. So ithar, giving preference to one another in tariq, in this path to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, is something which is very, very great. Ali radiallahu ta'ala an was present on one occasion. The space to sit was very, very limited, and Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala an comes. Now what to do? Ali radiallahu ta'ala an is a son-in-law. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala an is a senior. But then to Ali radiallahu ta'ala an stands, moves, he gives way. Allahu Akbar. Siddiq hi, Siddiq ko ithar de sakta hai. And it is this person who has the maqam of Siddiqiyat. It takes one to recognize another. Allahu Akbar. So this gathering that we have here, Allah Ta'ala usko Allah Ta'ala fill it with noor. Uthman radiallahu, okay, let's continue. So a person, doesn't he understand that awalam yaral insan anna khalaqnahu? Doesn't he understand that we created him just from one sperm, and then he comes and he rebels in front of us. فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ. So how can a person ever be negligent of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? He can never ever be at any point in time, because Allah Ta'ala is always sufficient for us. Allah Ta'ala is always there. Allah Ta'ala sees to the needs of one and all. وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. There is no creature, there is nothing that is living in the earth except that it is upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala their rizq. Whoever puts his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah ta'ala is sufficient for him. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدًا. Hazrat Wala quotes an incident of Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala an. Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala an was once seated, and a person enters, and at that time there, Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala an says, and he mentions something to the effect of that sometimes people come and you can actually notice zina dripping from their eyes. And at that time, what does Abu Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala an says? What does he say? A wahyun? What's happening? Is this wahi that's coming down? Because he's so affected by the tafsira or the statement that Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala an had mentioned. So he says, no, there's no wahi. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is left. There's no wahi after that. But what can we say and what can we do? It is the nur from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by means of which a person sees. You know, Hazrat Maulana Abrar al-Haq Sahib, Hazrat Wala is saying, came on one occasion, and I heard this myself, Hazrat Wala is saying, and he said that look here in India, in our diyar here, you will find thousands of people here who are blind. They don't have this ni'mat of seeing. You people have this ni'mat. You can see. Allah Ta'ala has given you eyes. Therefore, look after your eyes. Look after your eyes. Make qadr of this ni'mat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib, Hazrat Wala is saying, okay, anyway, let me go on through those couplets. Chashmo band, labbo band, gosho band, gar nabini noor haq, barman bakhand. Shut your eyes. Zap your lips. Plug your ears. Meaning, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And listen, if you do that, and then too, Gar nabini noor haq. Then too, if you can't see the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bar man bakhand. Do me a favor, laugh at me. Because this is tried and tested. If anybody looks after his eyes, ears, and his tongue, he will see the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib was in the apartment upstairs. And from where we were there, I was with him alone, Hazrat Wala is saying. And then from there we get the sound of music coming. And Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib, Sheikh-e-Waqt, such a great personality. But look at the amount of fikr he had for Islam. He looks at me, he addresses me and he says, Ab kaise bacha jaye? Not now, what will we do? How will we save ourselves? The music is coming right till here, right into our house. You know, you have these people going past with the barat in the weddings and that, and they're banging the drums and doing this and doing that. On another occasion, Hazrat Wala Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib never used to just look at the newspapers and that, but if there was some type of crisis, the Muslims were involved, he would take the newspaper, see what's happening, what's the halat of the Muslimin. So on one occasion, he picks up the newspapers and then he sees a tasweer, a picture, and then immediately he folds it, he puts it away, he looks at me and he says to me, Ab kaisa bacha jaye? Now what will we do? Now how do we look after our eyes that a person can't even in peace pick up the newspaper and look at some khabar and understand what's happening to the Muslims, and then these type of challenges comes to him. So this is a fantastic kitab that I have in front of me. It is the kitab of Ibn Ataullah Iskandari. Hazrat Haji Imdadullah Sahib says, Ashraf Ali, translate this kitab. It will be of great benefit to the people. You know, when I went to Gujarat, Hazrat Wala is saying, I said to the people there, that what was it? Hazrat Haji Sahib understood the capability and the capacity of Hazrat Tanvi. That's why he said to him, take this kitab and translate it. And this is what we need to do in our idaras. This is what we need to do in our institutions. That we need to create such a type of a capacity and capability in our students, that tomorrow when they go into the Maidan, then they can make tarjuma and they can translate. So if you make basarat ki hifazat karega insan, to basirat milegi. If you look after your eyes, then Allah Ta'ala will give you nur. We come from here, from the madrasa home, and from the home to the madrasa, and then what happens? What happens? On the way, there's so much of things. How do you save yourself? There's so much type of fitans, this, that, and the other. Thereafter, Hazrat Wala quotes something amazing. He says that if a person achieves and earns his wealth in a halal manner, and he spends his wealth in the proper way, he will get the reward of a sabir and a shakir. Alaysa Allahu bikafin abda? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not sufficient for his banda? I'll tell you an incident which took place in Aligarh. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib was in Aligarh. He was giving waz, and at that time there was an alim who entered. He was pareshan about his rozi. And when he walks into the majlis, he hears Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib saying, Alaysa Allahu bikafin abda. He just hears this ayat of the Quran Majid, and that was sufficient for him. What was sufficient for him? That he got his answer, and thereafter he made so much of tarakki. He made so much of tarakki, and he got close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From where to where he reached, and what type of mansab and positions thereafter he held. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala says that if we, as the latter portion of this ummah, rather he says that if anybody wants success, then he needs to see and look at what did the former people of this ummah do, and he needs to tread that part and do what they done. It is only then that he will become successful. It was a time of drought, and there was a person going, singing, clapping his hands, doing this, doing that, and then this buzruk comes to him and he says, but everybody's suffering, everybody's struggling, you laughing and singing and dancing. So he says, what do I have to worry about? My master's got how many garages full of wheat? So what do I need? At that time, cheekh nikal gayi. From that buzruk, he let out such a screeching sound, saying that if this man has so much of i'timad and yaqeen in his master, then how much of yaqeen should we not have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So we need to make hifazat of our eyes, and we need to make hifazat of our hearts as well. Allahumma aati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha anta waliyuha wa maulaha. So Allah Ta'ala has kept our falah and our success confined and restricted to taqwa. So therefore we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib bahut shaddu mas ke saath bayan farmate the. He used to speak about this here very passionately, going on to say that, oh Allah, you grant my soul its piety. وَزَكِّهَا أَنْتَ خَيْرُ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Purify it, for you are the best of those who can purify my soul. And then he would come in this maqam, enaz, and then he would go on to say, but oh Allah, that if we are sahib nafs, oh Allah, then you are malik nafs. You also have a right, oh Allah, you purify our souls. So this tariq is asan. A person does, he should do whatever he can do. After that, it is tafweez. Hand it over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He used to have an ajib wa gharib shan. He used to, if any person used to come and become a murid of his, then what used to happen? He would say, Ya Allah, this person has definitely become my murid, but oh Allah, I'm handing him over to you. I'm handing him over to you. You make his islah. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. At the demise of Hazrat Mujaddid Al-Fithani rahimahullah, a person came to Hazrat Khaja Muhammad Masoom, a great personality himself, the son of Hazrat Mujaddid Sahib. Hazrat Khaja Muhammad Masoom had 900,000 murids. 7,000 alone was his khulafa. So this person comes and he says that what will we do? How will we do? What's going to happen? Hazrat Mujaddid Sahib has passed away. He says, most definitely, Hazrat Mujaddid Sahib has passed away. But Allah is here. Allah is present. Murabbi Hakiki is here. And that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the Murabbi of this entire world. So when we say Allah ta'ala makes tarbiyat, Allah gives us food, Allah gives us drink, Allah gives us shelter. But just like how Allah ta'ala makes hifazat of our zahir, Allah ta'ala makes tarbiyat of our batin as well. ये सब समझने की बात है. This is things that we need to understand. You know, when a person asked before that you people mashayikh in Naqshbandiya, how do you do tawajjuh and this and that and the other? Nevertheless, I told him it was the tawajjuh of these mashayikh. When Hazrat Maulana Yaqub Sahib came to Makkah Mukarramah, they left him off there. And then Hazrat Gangohi and others went to Madina Munawwara and they said, Hazrat, he's coming the first time. We're leaving him here in your sohbat, in your khidmat, and we're carrying on, we'll come back. He said, not a problem, let him stay. Now who are we talking about? We're speaking about Sadr Mudarrisin, Darul Deoband, the head Ustad of Darul Deoband. And then what happened? They went and they came back. But when they come back, Hazrat Haji Sahib then complains. And he says, what to do? I asked him to do one thing. I asked him to be silent. But anybody who came here, he used to speak before I could even speak. So Hazrat Haji Sahib asked him just to do one thing which he didn't even do. However, because the Sheikh was Kamil, due to the power of his batini nisbat, he let the person Hazrat Maulana Yaqub Sahib reach from where to where. Nevertheless, he leaves Makkah Mukarramah and he goes to India. And what type of khidmat of deen he does there? Allahumma inna nas'aluka nafsan bika mutma'inna tu'minu bi liqa'ik wa tarda bi qada'ik wa taqna'u bi 'ata'ik. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayah of making amal on these ta'limat. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.